Hi, and welcome to the second part on my short series on how to spot forgeries of classic stamps. Using the best available information, but also by extensive detailed study of genuine and fake stamps, these guides should assist you in eliminating all but the very best and most dangerous copies. Part 1 covered the 1843 Double Geneva, giving 28 separate details to examine, so please check out that video if you are interested. So here is Part 2 and another classic from Switzerland, the Basel Dove from 1845, and the only issue specifically released under this Swiss Canton region. Possibly the most beautiful stamp ever produced, and a marvel of innovation, and is the highlight of serious stamp collections. Being the first truly multicolored stamp where predecessors from Great Britain and Brazil were limited to single ink color. Even the Zurich 4 and 6 Rappen stamps from 1843 had the faintest of red line backgrounds. The Basel stamp also featured the first use of embossing on a postage stamp, this being of a dove carrying a letter in its beak, designed by Melchior Barry, and was also used on several postboxes positioned around the area, some of which are still in place today. Other than the heraldic eagle in the Geneva coat of arms, the Basel Dove is also the first officially issued stamp to feature an animal, beating Canada's beaver by 6 years. The Basel Dove is a very rare stamp which has been extensively forged for many decades, with more recent photographic copies perhaps being the hardest to identify, at least from an image. Probably the most convincing appear to be the winter forgeries from the early 80s, but even these have missed crucial elements. Of course, printing method, papers, inks, gum, cancellations, printing plate position, dimensions, condition, and any repairs are all critical elements in proving it genuine and of the quality you are expecting. And that's where the real benefit of expertising comes in. But I hope to show that there are some features that the forgers have failed to replicate, and following this guide, you stand a very good chance of avoiding a very expensive mistake. Internationally, the stamp is known by several other names, including the Basler Taube or Basler Diebli in German, Colombe de Bale in French, and Piccioni di Basilia in Italian. I can recommend a great book covering many countries' early issues called Distinguishing Characteristics of Classic Stamps for 19th Century Europe by Hermann Schloss in 1951. There is also an excellent book on the background to this stamp written by John Paul Bark and Felix Winterstein, and you can easily use Google Translate on your phone's camera if you need to. Okay, to the main show. This video provides 11 points of detail that you should check, and, for convenience, I have put these into an order that quickly eliminates the vast majority of the forgeries you may encounter. Be aware that occasionally there will be slight color offsets, even on genuine stamps. This is due to the various paper loading stages during printing. But the printing of the black elements should be relatively positioned correctly. Point number 1. The L in Basel should be leaning backwards. Most copies have drawn this completely horizontally, so is an easy tell. Point number 2. Just in the parallel outlines of the shield, right by the letter E, should be a black line joining the outlines. Very few forgeries have replicated this. Point number 3. The left and right bars under the ornaments actually are not at the same vertical position. If you get a detailed image of your stamp, ensuring it is as straight as you can, you will see that the left-hand set is marginally higher than the right. Point number 4. If you look at the half character in the bottom left, you'll see that the 1 is just a line, without a serif on the font. And if you see the angle of the bar, it points down to the very bottom of the stamp. Many forgeries have this angle completely wrong, some even having it near horizontal. Point number 5. Closely examine the details in the pattern at the top. This has a mix of short and longer lines, with part of it beginning to mirror the above, with distinct sideways V's. A lot of forgeries have a different arrangement of these marks, or even the entire section in a solid color. Point number 6. The top of the letter P, in post, has an elongated bar to the left. This is also missing from a large number of fakes. Point number 7. If you look carefully at the thick border, this does not go all around the stamp. The inner top and left are thicker, but it's the outer right and bottom lines instead. Point number 8. The letter O in post is very nearly vertical with a fairly narrow center white space. Forgeries exist where the angle is more leaning to the right and with different designs of the character. Point number 9. There should be a gap between the right ornament and the edge of the shield. In some poorer copies, these are touching. Point number 10. The angle of the dove's tail should be close to 90 degrees. I've seen some unusual copies where this is closer to 45 degrees. Point number 11. Check the embossing, as even this has been forged. It's not always possible to tell, as the stamps may have flattened over the years, so where they are visible, they are quite detailed. Some forgeries have produced less detailed versions, or even inverted them to trick buyers into thinking it is a rare error. Give these a go against the forgeries that you can view online, and you'll soon be quite proficient in spotting the mistakes. But as I said earlier, for such an expensive purchase, I thoroughly recommend you only paying the going rate for examples with reliable certificates, and make sure that that is not just a copy and that the image is of the actual stamp you're looking at. You can also do what I did, which was buy from one of the world's most reliable specialist dealers, Honegger Philatelist, in Switzerland. They have an amazing selection, all accurately described with sound certificates. I'm not on commission or affiliated in any way, but if you want to add one of these to your collection, you could do much worse. Good luck with your collecting, and drop a comment on how you get on.